In this era of information superhighway, any individual, any community that lags behind in terms of digital literacy will be left behind.
I think if you want to understand the challenges and the opportunities in sub-Saharan Africa, you need to be talking to the stakeholders here, the governments here, the businesses here.
Africa is a continent of hope.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for Keynote 2 of Thrive Africa. Today we'll be talking about the next billion users, and we'll focus on the upcoming generation of African global citizens. We'll also talk about how mobile connectivity and technology will guide how they communicate, learn, work, and live in a digital world. Some of the key issues we'll hope to address in this session include what the digital landscape will look like in the coming years, what strategic actions should be taken to ensure Digital Africa leaves no one behind, what skill sets we should be focusing on to ensure citizens of Africa are empowered in this tech revolution, how we can adapt content, teach digital literacy, and of course, create jobs in a digital-first world. We'll also be looking at the role of startups in the digital landscape, as well as key action points for stakeholders to maximize the opportunities that digital technologies can bring. I will kick us off with a presentation of some key insights from our GSMA Mobile Economy 2020 report, which we launched yesterday. And afterwards, we will have keynote presentations from several industry leaders, including Andrew Rugege from ITU, Peter Ndegwa from Safaricom, and Simon Karikari from Tigo, Tanzania. So we'll go straight into the presentation from key findings from our Mobile Economy 2020 report. Now, there are some very interesting milestones that the mobile landscape in sub-Saharan Africa will reach in the next 5 years. We have outlined a number of them there on the slide, as you can see, but I'm going to call out 4 of them. So this year, 2020, the number of mobile broadband connections in sub-Saharan Africa will reach 500 million. By 2023, we expect 4G to overtake 2G to become the second most dominant technology. 3G will remain the dominant technology. However, it will peak at 59% of total connections by 2024. And by 2025, we expect to see smartphone adoption in the region to reach 65%. At the same time, the number of mobile users, unique subscribers in sub-Saharan Africa will also reach 50%. So where will growth come from in the next 5 years? So we expect 130 million new unique mobile subscribers to come on board by 2025. About a third of this will come from well, the majority of them really will come from 5 countries, the 5, biggest markets in the region in terms of population. So Nigeria, Ethiopia, the DRC, Tanzania, and Kenya will account, for the majority of new mobile subscribers over this period. Now, the 5G era has begun in sub-Saharan Africa, as we all know, but like I mentioned at the beginning, 3G will remain the dominant technology for the foreseeable future. So MTN and Vodacom launched 5G in South Africa earlier this year, formally kicking off the 5G era in the region. We believe that 5G fixed wireless access offers the biggest opportunity in the region for 5G services, and this will be to bridge the gap in broadband connectivity for homes and businesses, considering that fixed broadband infrastructure is still very much underdeveloped in the region. We don't expect any mass adoption of 5G to take place in the region anytime soon. This will probably be post 2025. However, there will be limited deployments and use cases of the technology across the region. Several other markets, including Nigeria, Kenya, and Gabon, have conducted 5G trials, but we do not expect commercial launch to happen anytime soon. So for now, the immediate focus is going to be on driving 4G adoption. So now in 2020, 4G accounts for about 10% of total connections, and we think this is going to nearly triple over the next 5 years to 27% by 2025. Nearly 500 million people will be using the mobile internet in sub-Saharan Africa by 2025. Again, Nigeria, Ethiopia will be among the countries that will see the highest number of new mobile internet users over the next 5 years. The majority of users will be students and young adults, especially those taking out a mobile subscription for the first time. Sub-Saharan Africa, as we know, about 40% of the population currently under the age of 15 years old, and we think that over the next 5 to 10 years, as these people become adults, they are going to pretty much be the driving force behind mobile adoption and mobile internet adoption in the region. Now, we think sub-Saharan Africa will have nearly 700 million smartphone connections by 2025. The biggest smartphone market by that time in the region will be Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. Every single sub-region in the region, as well as Ethiopia on itself, will have smartphone penetration of at least 61%. And on average, it's going to be 65% across the region. So what will be the main driver behind smartphone adoption in the region? Well, two things. First, we're beginning to see a number of low-cost devices come to the market. KaiOS, and yesterday in his keynote presentation, the Orange Group CEO also talked about a new device, $30 smartphone device that Orange Africa is launching in partnership with Google. So these low-cost smartphone devices will be key drivers for the adoption of smartphones in the region. We're also beginning to see smartphone financing schemes become quite popular. Safaricom recently launched a smartphone financing service, and several other operators are also thinking of doing the same thing as a way of making devices more affordable for users in the region. So a combination of rapid network adoption, rising smartphone adoption, we think will drive a fourfold increase in data traffic in the region between 2019 and 2025. So by 2025, we expect the average mobile data traffic per subscriber per month to reach 7.1 gigahertz. So this gigabytes. So this is a huge increase from just 1.6 gigabytes at the end of 2019. Again, mobile operators in the region are rolling out quite a number of streaming services, which is beginning to bring about a new type of consumer engagement with mobile devices. So before now, most people use their phones for voice and perhaps SMS services and some form of web browsing. but increasingly, a number of streaming services have come online for music, for video, for gaming, and these are some of the services that will drive data traffic in the region going forward. Of course, the region is also a mobile first and in many cases mobile only market. So it means that for most people, both individuals and businesses, mobile will continue to be the only platform for them to access data services, and that will drive data traffic over mobile devices in the region compared to other regions where fixed networks are able to help with the data traffic. So despite the rapid adoption of mobile broadband that we have seen, there are still a lot of challenges. So these challenges faced by numerous unconnected population groups in the region. So by the end of 2019, if we come down to the real numbers, about 272 million people used mobile internet services. So this meant, that over 800 million people are still not able to use mobile services in the region. Now, nearly 50% of those people are connected by a mobile broadband network. And so their limitation is caused by several non-infrastructure challenges. These range from affordability of services and devices to lack of digital skills, and in many cases, lack of locally relevant content to attract them to use mobile internet services. But another 25% are still not covered by a mobile broadband network. So that's either a 3G or a 4G network. And so the challenge for all stakeholders in the coming years will be to address these barriers, but the infrastructure barriers for the remaining 25% of the population not yet covered by a mobile broadband network, as well as the non-infrastructure barriers for nearly half the population that's currently covered by a mobile broadband network, but don't yet subscribe to a mobile internet service. So a couple of weeks ago, we launched our latest mobile connectivity index. And we can see the scores here, the overall scores, as well as the scores for the different enablers for the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. We can see that the region has made progress between 2016 and 2019. Overall score rising from 33 to 38. This is out of 100, but there's still a long way to go. Infrastructure and consumer skills are above 40% now, but affordability, or rather above 40 now, but affordability and content and services are still below 40. We think, these are the areas that stakeholders really need to begin to pay attention to in order to close the digital divide. Obviously, COVID-19 has made this even more urgent for stakeholders, considering the fact that in an increasingly digital world, anybody who is not able to access digital services is at risk of missing out on a great number of services. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your time this morning. The mobile economy report is on the GSMA Africa website. You can see it there, or you can go to the GSMA Intelligence website to download the report. It's now my pleasure to invite our second speaker to come on stage, and that is Andrew Rugege, and he's the head of ITU Africa. Andrew.
Thank you very much, Kenechi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me. I don't need to redo that, but I'm the Regional Director for Africa of the ITU, and I live in Addis Ababa. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are. Wherever you are. My congratulations to GSMA for organizing this Thrive Africa 2020 event. and my sincere thanks for the opportunity to participate. While I was thinking about the event, I received a digital postcard from my friend who traveled to the future, and I thought I would share it with you. Being the African that I am, I want to tell a story. So, this postcard goes, the year is 2030, and we have achieved universal broadband connectivity, thus connecting the next billion users to the internet. Before you ask, let me tell you how we managed to get here. Having conducted our current status analysis back in 2019, we found that in Africa, a report from ITU showed only 28% was connected to the internet. And Alliance for Affordable Internet and GSMA showed only 34% were mobile internet subscribers. And again, there was another report that showed that the internet gender gap was at 50%. For our future desired state of universal meaningful connectivity, we found that we needed to address several things, including the one Kenechi has just mentioned, but also connectivity infrastructure, affordability, creating an enabling environment, digital public goods, capacity development, innovation and entrepreneurship and job creation, accessibility and inclusion, embracing emerging technologies, and taking care of the environment, and of course, funding. The postcard goes on. Africa is the most beautiful continent endowed with everything, including mountains, lakes, rivers, forests, and deserts. But to build the requisite infrastructure in these places, it was necessary to use every available technology, including submarine cables, satellites, terrestrial optical fiber, even copper twisted pair cables and microwaves as backbone and middle mile, then Wi-Fi, Li-Fi, laser, and others for last mile. The Broadband Commission report on connecting Africa through broadband had showed that you needed $9 billion to double connectivity by 2021 and about $100 billion to reach universal access by 2030. I will tell you later how we went about funding, but first, for an enabling environment here in 2030, all countries in Africa had adopted a fifth generation regulation or collaborative regulation using the ITU regulatory toolkits, guidelines, and other tools. Universal connectivity would not be possible without regulators, policymakers, operators, service providers, civil society, and others coming together to agree on an enabling environment that served the public and the private sector in win-win situation. I was also happy to learn that after WRC 19, ITU continues to facilitate discussions on radio frequency spectrum. Here in 2030, we're enjoying incredibly fast speeds because of 5G and such technologies as IoTs, driverless cars, smart industries, and others. And our rural areas have been easier and cheaper to connect because the longer range 700 megahertz band was allocated to broadband connectivity. I know that back there in 2020, you are still holding discussions, and I hear that spectrum is slated to be a hot issue at WRC 23. But please choose wisely, as you will need this scarce resource to have universal connectivity in 2030. Let us return to affordability. For the majority of Africans, meaningful access to broadband connectivity and to the internet is still way out of reach. Before we go to 2030, we asked ourselves why, despite the many submarine cables landing at Africa's shores and the hundreds of terabytes available, Africa used but a fraction of this. We wondered why, with so many communication satellites with coverage beams over Africa our rural areas and otherwise inaccessible areas were still not connected. Is it logical that the average cost of access in developed countries are a small fraction of the cost for access in Africa and hardly comparable quality? We also observed that we needed a critical mass of connected users for prices to fall, but we needed affordable prices to get this critical mass. Catch-22. What became evident, though, was that the UN call for global digital cooperation, bringing together the public and private sector, was really the answer to, but innovative funding mechanisms would be required. He goes on, by the way, I heard that in 2020, Ethiopia completed the 6,000 kilowatt Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam after only 9 years by issuing government bonds for all citizens, which even parents bought for their 5-year-olds. I wonder whether they will also issue a digital infrastructure bond for universal access. When you are in 2030 like me, everything 2020 seems so retro. But did I hear of an ITU and UNICEF initiative called GIGA that would connect every school to the internet and every young person to information, opportunity, and choice? This is so forward-looking. Oh, I forgot to ask you how 2020 is managing in COVID-19 pandemic without adequate infrastructure. I heard that ITU and its partners have responded with Connect to Recover to help their members extend connectivity to recover better. So cool. Back in 2020, we had to make landmark decisions for us to be able to be where we are now in 2030. Let me share this, he said. Considering the cross-cutting nature of digital infrastructure, it was regarded as an all-of-government endeavor, and all ministries would contribute a small portion of their budget to the newly created Digital Infrastructure Fund. Each country also issued digital infrastructure bonds like Ethiopia did for electricity. Number 2, spectrum fees, especially pertaining to rural connectivity, were deferred until 2030, when we were expected to achieve universal broadband connectivity. Number 3, infrastructure sharing was made universally mandatory in all countries, including cross-border connectivity, which for us saved cost and preserved our environment. All public infrastructure roads, power cables, rail lines, etc., would be built to carry shared broadband infrastructure, thus reducing cost while extending access. Smart Africa was instructed by heads of state and empowered to negotiate and bulk purchase internet bandwidth for the continent to realize economies of scale. In everything, public and private, there had to be gender parity. This was legislated. To achieve that, ICT, gender, and coding were made part of the national school curricula from preschool. As said in the last keynote, capacity development is important, and all that leading to decent jobs for the youth. It is no wonder that the writer from 2030 is asking me about the ITU ILO initiative, boosting decent jobs and enhancing digital skills for the youth in Africa's digital economy. In order to prepare and sustain the digital economy, that initiative is expected to look at not only job supply and job demand, but also intermediation. I hope this digital postcard from 2030 from my friend gave us some food for thought. As the African proverb goes, you may speak to the general public, but it is the few concerned among them that will get the message. I thank you and wish you a good Thrive, GSM Thrive Africa.
Thank you, Andrew. I'd now like to introduce Idit Duvdevany Aronson, Head of Corporate Responsibility and Inclusion at Amdocs.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Idit Duvdevany Aronson, and I'm leading the Global Corporate Responsibility and Inclusion for Amdocs. Amdocs is a global software and services company working in the communications and media industry. We have a significant global footprint, and among others, we're active in over 15 countries in the sub-Saharan Africa and contributing to the digitalization of the African telecommunication and media environment. Today, I'm going to talk to you about digital being not just the channel, but rather the solution for some of the world's most pressing social challenges. We call it the Docs effect. Amdocs' purpose is to enrich lives and progress societies for a better connected world. And as a company with 25,000 employees, an additional 70,000 jobs that we're creating through our supply chain, we have a huge privilege, but also a huge responsibility. We have a huge responsibility and opportunities coming with it. And we translated it into 4 or 5 main domains for our corporate social responsibility. We are seeking to improve the lives of people in our communities. We are thriving on diversity and inclusion, placing significant emphasis on promoting gender diversity and closing the gender gap, but also addressing other types of diversity like ethnic diversity and people with disabilities and cultural diversity. We are protecting the environment, we are promoting sustainability with our technologies, and we really believe in driving change with leaders in our industry. When it comes to our community impact, we have 4 main focus areas. And as a company that breathes and lives digital, bridging the digital divide being one of the biggest focuses that we have. When we talk about digital divide, I can say we can even, paint a line that looks at the entire spectrum from, do we have access to digital? Do you have the device and the connectivity? What is the quality of the use that you do for it? Do you know what to do with it? And at the end of this spectrum, we're looking at, do you work with digital? What are the skills that you need in order to be, the future employer in the world that we're living in? And when we're looking at this digital world, we look at the impact that we do in the community. We're using digital technology and channels for CSR, and we think that, today it's even more important than ever before. If we're looking at the COVID era, when, in one day we needed to completely shift the way that we bring the social impact into the world. Face-to-face volunteering was no longer an option. Also, the emerging needs from the society that was harmed by COVID, all of these made us sit down and think of what is our new way of bringing impact into the world, and also taking under consideration the diversity of the populations that we have within the Amdocs and also outside of it. So we created the Social Hub. The Social Hub is a new format that looks at taking our skills and bringing it out to the world and driving impact through it. The way that it works is that we are creating partnerships. We are identifying a social cause. We are identifying the people within Amdocs and identifying the relevant skills that we have in order to bring them into the table as volunteers. We are engaging with partners out there. It could be charitable organizations, universities, municipalities, non-governmental organizations, and we bring the entire umbrella of support so that this could be a really corporate social responsibility project. And we've done it even before COVID, but what we felt in the COVID era is that this is the way to bring impact into the world. And our aim now is to go from the local impact that we created into the global impact that we can bring into this world. And I want to give you a glimpse into how this could look like through an example that we have in Mexico. So food insecurity and hunger are one of the grand challenges that the world is facing. And one way to address it is to actually donate food. And we're all doing it, and we will continue doing it. And we did it even more during COVID. This is one way to address it. Another way is to actually look for a solution that could be scaled and could address the masses. And I'm very, very proud to share that our employees in our Guadalajara offices in Mexico, 7 employees that for a few months sat down and built a partnership with the local university, the local municipality, and food banks in the area. And they created a food app that actually connects between surpluses of food that organizations, restaurants, individuals have, and connecting them into people who really need it. It could be individuals, families, they can do it through their mobile phone, or they can do it by going to a food bank. But this connection between food surpluses into the actual people who need it was something that was not done before. And the way that we digitalized it actually enabled us to bring live this solution. And from the moment that it went live a year and a half ago, already 400,000 people got food through that. And in Jalisco, the state that we are operating this in Mexico, 1.3 million people are suffering from food insecurity. So imagine we were able to touch 400,000 of them without investing even $1, because it was all thanks to the digitalization that we were able to create there. So, you know, when we're looking at what is the face of impact, I'm very proud to show you the employees that were part of it. And this is a glimpse into what to the app that they created. So when we're looking at going global into this, so, you know, we are a group of people all around the world looking for projects that we can bring into the society. And I'm here calling you today. If you have here in Africa, people that, if you can think of a project that might be relevant for us to work with you, please reach out to us. We really believe that if we create this type of partnership, we will be able to scale up from a local solution into a local problem, into a global solution that could be scalable. I can already share with you that the solution that we brought in Mexico is now being replicated to the Philippines. It is also going to be used by one of the largest NGOs that we have in the world. And you know, why stop with 400,000 people when we can feed millions? And also, why stop only with food insecurity? There are so many grand challenges in this world that could be addressed by the power of partnerships and people working together. So we don't want to stop, and we want to create the next digital-powered community initiatives together with you. So we're looking for partnerships, and you can reach out to me here in this email, and hopefully we can find things to do together. When we're looking at the world where it is now with COVID and whatever the pandemic brought with us and the uncertainties that we're looking at, the power of corporations and the different sectors bringing their forces together to address these mega problems that the world is suffering from is taking it to the next level. In Amdocs, we believe that our purpose is to enrich lives and progress societies. And hopefully we can do this together with partners inside and outside the organization. I want to thank you very much, and I really hope to hear from you in the email that I sent you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edith. Now, please welcome Peter Ndegwa, CEO of Safaricom.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Over the next 2 decades, the world has evolved significantly. When Safaricom started 20 years ago, owning a mobile phone was a luxury, the kind reserved only for the rich. Today, the mobile phone penetration in the country stands at over 100%. Kenya is known as a hotbed of innovation, the Silicon Savannah, home to the most successful mobile money and payments platform in the world. We would like to think that we've played a key role in achieving this possibility. And for that reason, we think that we have a role to play in scoping the future of the next billion customers that GSMA expects to grow in Africa by 2050. From the beginning, we set out to democratize mobile phone by making it accessible to everyone. The possibilities of smartphones are endless, but smartphones are expensive devices. It means that as we invest in improving our network with the installation of 4G capabilities, we faced a new problem. What would we do with customers who joined our network on the 2G platform and have been left out of the digital revolution because of their feature phones cannot access the internet? In June 2018, we introduced the Neon smartphone range in partnerships with Google, the first Android Go edition devices in Kenya. We sold more than 600,000 Neon smartphones in 2019, making it the most popular and affordable smartphone in its retail shops across the country. But there was an affordability problem that persisted. Millions of customers were still left behind. This year, we returned with an additional solution, showing our ability to innovate. For as little as $10, customers can walk away with a Neon smartphone and pay an easy installment capped at only US cents 20 per day. Mobile connectivity lives across Africa. It is transforming and uplifting lives in multiple ways, ranging from communication to health to education and to financial services. One of our customers, Phyllis Wajira, has described how her life has been transformed when she accessed this smartphone. The device improved her business and social interactions thanks to the power of the internet and the applications she could not access on her feature phone. These types of innovation have created a significant multiplier effect in the economies where mobile connectivity is taking root across sub-Saharan Africa. Mobile connectivity impacts all spheres of life, from medicine to education to agriculture, and while simultaneously deepening financial inclusion. According to GSMA's data, smartphones now outnumber basic and feature phones in more than half of all countries in sub-Saharan Africa. We expect this trend to continue and predict that smartphone adoption will reach 79.4% across emerging markets by 2025. This penetration is driving a considerable impact across the region. If I were to cite Kenya, audit firm KPMG has calculated that Safaricom contributed 6% to the Kenya GDP in 2019. This is almost 10 times the profit we reported. We employ close to 6,000 members of staff directly and create about 200,000 indirect jobs. But when we expand to the broader ecosystem, it has been calculated that we are supporting just over 1 million jobs across the country. This is an immense contribution for a firm that is only 20 years old. But it's also a demonstration that the digital revolution is making a huge impact and holds great promise for sub-Saharan Africa. According to UN data, Africa's population has nearly trebled from its estimated 478 million in 1980 to the current estimate of close to 1.2 billion. It is projected to increase to 1.5 billion by 2025 and to 2.4 billion by 2050. There's a raging debate about whether Africa's growing population is an economic benefit or a curse. For me, the question is, how can we harness this youthful energy and create economic capabilities that serve the world and earn dividends across Africa? According to a paper published by the World Bank, the outlook will most likely be good if African countries can continue to uphold the gains already made by strengthening their institutions and policies. So therefore, the ball is squarely in our court. What kind of future do we want to create for our children? How do we create an environment where we harvest the next 1 billion phone users? Business everywhere must adopt rules of engagement so that we drive both numbers and value to our customers. This type of engagement is best anchored in the purpose-driven business strategies. In 2016, Safaricom integrated 9 of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals into our business model, in line with our purpose of transforming lives. We did this because we believe that sustainable and equitable growth can only be achieved if we ensure that no one and nobody is left behind. It's not just a nice thing to do, it is the right thing to do. Since then, we've invested in initiatives and partnerships that are helping us contribute to the realization of SDGs. New technologies like 5Gs will broaden the capabilities offered by the digital revolution. But it also means that we have to keep developing innovative solutions so that the arrival of these new capabilities does not widen the digital divide. We must relate to the rules in a way that the world of augmented reality and the Internet of Things does not leave consumers here in sub-Saharan Africa behind. One of the other key areas is to ensure that our digital march to the future does not widen the digital gender divide. The digital gender gap in Africa is only second globally at 37% after South Asia, which is at 51%. Mobile phone penetration has enabled women to access vital information from the internet and to open up a world of opportunities that has significantly impacted their lives. We continue to work towards reducing the mobile gender gap to allow the benefits of connectivity to be shaped equally. This is why we are very pleased to be part of the GSMA's Connected Women initiatives. As part of this initiative, we've committed to increasing the number of women who can use and who use mobile money service from 46% to 50%. We've also committed to improving their data services from 47 to 50% by 2023. Another critical support sector is the small and medium-sized enterprise. Thanks to M-Pesa, we interact with all micro and SMEs in the country as they use the platform for mobile money transfers, for payments, and for microfinancing services. According to the IFC, the SME sector are an important driver of growth across economies in sub-Saharan Africa, accounting for up to 90% of all businesses in these markets. SMEs are the engines that power economic growth and especially job creation. They need support to be digitally ready. When SMEs will be fully digitally equipped, then Africa will be digitally ready and be equipped for the next 1 billion users. We recognize that the challenge that lies ahead is great, but we look forward to playing even a bigger role in widening and deepening the impact of mobile technology. I have no doubt that the digital revolution holds excellent promise for sub-Saharan Africa. We owe it to the young people and the future generations to create even a better world for them. So in closing, Africa is a vibrant continent bursting with opportunity, fueled by the dreams and aspirations of a youthful, energetic, and ambitious and a connected population. Digitization across the continent is ushering in a new era of connectivity. It's also offering a new and exciting opportunities for telcos and other players within our ecosystem to use technology to drive sustainable social and economic development. For the past 20 years, we have been in the business of transforming lives by keeping Kenyans connected. But today, customers are not content just to have connectivity. They expect us to deliver innovative products and services, products that open them up to the world of opportunity, that empower them to chase their dreams, and which do so while remaining mindful of the changing economic landscape. They also expect us to provide solutions to everyday challenges they face, many of which go beyond telecommunications. As we look towards the future, we remain committed to our purpose of transforming lives, to reflecting the innovative goodness, industriousness, and optimistic spirit of the African people, to uplifting our customers first, delivering shared value to our customers, our shareholders, and our partners, Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day.
I am for you.
Thank you, Peter. I'd now like to welcome our next speaker in this session, Simon Karikari, CEO of Tigo, Tanzania.
Good day, everyone. My name is Simon Karikari. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Tigo, Tanzania. Tigo is part of the Millicom Group. It's a leading mobile phone provider, mobile services provider in Latin America and Africa. And we have a long history of promoting and facilitating digital and financial inclusion in the emerging market. We're proud of our business in Tanzania and how we've been able to transform lives, represent opportunities for employment and socio-economic growth. Connecting the unconnected and access to mobile technology is the heart of what we do every day. And so this topic is really important for us. I'm really delighted to be here today to discuss how we connect the next billion users in Africa. In short, digital technology has changed lives for the better, and more so in Africa, I believe, than any part of the world. The digital landscape is really in Africa is really driven by the young population. Africa is the home of a booming young population, especially in East Africa, where we work in Tanzania. We have 45% of the whole East African community of 150 million people that are under the age of 15. And further, 28% are between the age of 15 and 24. Sub-Saharan Africa continues to be one of the fastest growing areas in terms of mobile phone customers and mobile data users. It is expected that mobile data user will grow fourfold by 2024 across Sub-Saharan Africa. This is a result of a large number of young consumers owning mobile phone for the first time. Africa is also becoming more affluent. According to the World Bank, the total consumer spending, the consumer spending in Africa totaled $3.6 trillion in 2019, and is expected to reach $5.3 trillion in 2020. Furthermore, the World Bank estimates that between 2020 and 2030, Africa's middle class will increase by over 100 million people. So it makes our work to connect the next 1 billion less challenging than it was the previous decade. What should our strategic actions be to ensure that no one gets left behind and we can connect the next 1 billion? I think there is 3 challenges that we face in connecting the next 1 billion. The first one is development of infrastructure and the significant investment required to develop infrastructure, especially in rural and remote areas of Africa. The next is affordability, with prices of devices and cost of content still very high and provide a significant barrier for most of our consumers. Digital literacy is the next challenge, and we need to make sure that we provide tools to ensure that we can overcome this challenge. The final challenge I see is regulatory. We need to ensure that we have stable, predictable regulatory environments to provide more access to digital services. So our job as mobile operators, I think our first job is to provide access. And what we are working on at Tigo in Tanzania is to close the mobile coverage gap. Most unconnected people now in Africa lives in rural and remote parts of the continent, where the cost of developing and maintaining network infrastructure is very high. The high fixed cost of laying infrastructure and especially maintaining it over a thinly distributed population with low purchasing power always poses challenges for operators. In Tanzania, one of the ways that we are overcoming that challenge is working with the government to provide subsidy to extend connectivity to rural parts of the country. We are also promoting infrastructure sharing as the cost-effective way to provide infrastructure to these areas. We're working with regulators, operators to provide a framework for active and passive infrastructure sharing. The next thing is, how do we bring more people online? And to bring more people online, we need content. We need to have content that are relevant to them. It is necessary to address the consumer's ability to use the internet. by making sure that we provide content that will foster innovation. In Africa, many of the unconnected individuals still see the gap in digital skill and a perceived lack of local content as a really key barrier. At Tigo, one of the things that we've done in the past is that we brought Facebook in Swahili, and we made it for free to be able to get people to start using the internet. We also offered internet.org, free WhatsApp, and we were the first organization to start selling Swahili-enabled Swahili smartphones to enable our customers the opportunity to taste what the internet and the digital world has to offer. The next thing that we are doing to bridge this gap is driving financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is a key pillar in building Africa's digital future, especially when you look at half of all the mobile money accounts in the world are in sub-Saharan Africa. Many countries in Africa has begun to see the power of mobile money, and it's driving mobile money to be able to enhance their citizens' ability to be productive, investment, empower women, reduce poverty, and help combat corruption. Tanzania is one of the most advanced mobile money markets in sub-Saharan Africa. And there is a shift from cash to digital services by expanding our services to merchant payments and government payments. With Tigo Pesa, which is the Tigo's mobile money platform, we are very committed to government. We are very committed to financial inclusion and supporting the government agenda. So we partnered with the government to connect our platform to over 500 government entities to enable customers and enable citizens to pay for their services digitally. Today, we are providing services for over 7 million people, and we are helping these 7 million people gain financial independence with the ability to transfer, save, and pay electronically. We are also helping the government to use mobile as a key strategy in the e-government strategy. We are connecting government departments to our mobile money platform, and we are helping the government with social funding distributions, as well as helping with non-profit sector to become more efficient in distributing of aid. There is no doubt that we are shifting from a cash to a digital ecosystem, with more funds entering and leaving now the mobile money ecosystem in digital form, in the form of bulk disbursement, bill payment, bank to wallet transaction, and interoperability between MNOs and banks. The spread of smartphone is also helping, and we believe that in the next few years it will play a significant role in our drive to digitize payments. Smartphone penetration was 40% in 2018, and we expect that to rise to 66% in 2025 in sub-Saharan Africa. This trend would unlock a broader consumer base, and it will help enhance customer experience and provide better services to our customers. For mobile financial services to grow and the ecosystems to expand, we also need a progressive regulatory approach and a conducive environment to allow MNOs to participate in reshaping what the financial services landscape is in Africa. Lastly, I want to talk about startups and the role of startups in digital Africa and how startups are going to help connect the next 1 billion. I believe startups will play a significant role in the tech revolution in Africa and ensuring that we connect the next 1 billion. They will bring new digital solutions and solve existing problems and challenges and bring efficiencies by disrupting all the old ways that we're doing things and the old business models, and also really be a driver for job creation for Africa. At Tigo, what we are doing is that we are investing in new partnerships and supporting development of startup and entrepreneurship in Tanzania. In 2019, we entered into a partnership with Seed Stars Tanzania, which is an investment platform with a mission to impact the lives through technology. This program has developed to boost startup tech, to boost tech startups looking to get ready for fundraising and access to data-driven training, mentoring sessions from experts and investors from all around the world. Africa telcos has significantly involved over the past years, focusing on growth, data monetization, and driving innovation. However, if substantial progress is to be made in telcos, this can be done with the help of startups, which are more adapting, more agile, and are able to interact and engage with customers at a faster pace than telcos can do. And that is the main reason why we are partnering with startups, and we believe that they will play a major role in the digital Africa. Finally, I would like to leave you with this. Mobile technology has quite simply changed the way emerging markets operate, both socially and economically, and it's done so in Africa more than any part of the world. Beyond the economic effect of enables huge social change and helping women to achieve potential, empowering people through internet banking, health, education, and so forth, as well as supporting democracies. We believe this is a transformative time for Africa. There is growth, and we see a lot of opportunities for economic development through the power of mobile phone. As an operator, we play a central role in building the digital divide. Our ambition for the future is to continue to accelerate digital and financial inclusion, and we believe that our services makes a positive impact in the lives of people in Tanzania. The challenges for operator in connecting the next billion are as much as regulatory as they are technical. An inclusive dialogue among stakeholders on creating the right policy environment is the most important step that we can take together to help build this future financial, digital, inclusive Africa. There is significant room for optimism when there is consensus across the industries and we all come together there is significant room for optimism when there is consensus across the industry and we all work together to make sure that we deliver digital and financial services for the next 1 billion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. And finally, please welcome our last speaker, Maha Alsaid, CEO of Gate to Pay.
Hello. Hi, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank GSMA for this summit and for inviting me to attend. I would, of course, love to have all the audience live to see you, but still, it was my pleasure to have the chance to introduce Gate to Pay. Of course, this shows that the digital world and digital payment is crossing all borders to be in this summit. I would like to share a small presentation with you to introduce the company. Okay. Okay. Now, we have actually established Gate to Pay as a fintech company, and in our vision to have Gate to Pay operating and digitalizing in Jordan as the hometown of Gate to Pay and all across the world, we have had to license the company from the Central Bank of Jordan to operate in the digital payments and as well to issue cards, prepaid and credit, to be licensed as a PSP in wallets, as well as for international transfers. In parallel, we have licensed Gate to Pay from MasterCard, Visa, and UnionPay as a principal member to overcome any gaps in this vision. The key objectives we have is basically in providing an innovative, holistic, high-tech payment. Of course, this is done in a way that can be operated from web-based so that it can be from all over the world. And we are ensuring financial inclusion. And of course, here in Jordan, we have less than 40% as banked people. So the model we work with is to actually facilitate for banked and unbanked from all over enrolling in our program. We empower corporate entities, allowing them to generate extra revenues by our models and have full control. We are serving different business sectors, and here we have we can operate with females and males, of course, from people working from home to micro level, SMEs, and big corporates. The key scope of operations we work in is basically providing a holistic payment solution covering different target groups. And of course, working with the modern technologies to adapt to all sorts of infrastructures. We have both key products that we serve or services for corporate solutions, and I mean here by for businesses, and as well for retail products. Of course, we will go now into more details for both scenarios. The basic of the solution we work is the cash management solution. It aims to facilitate instant digital payments between entities and their different stakeholders. And in parallel, you can monitor, distribute, and accept cashless funds. The core of the solution is with the web portal, where the companies actually can access all their payments to the different entities they have to pay for through the web-based and with all the authority matrix required in the company along the different sizes of the company. The mobile application is a core factor in our solution. All users within any company or vendors or suppliers that cash will be, or actually payments will be pushed from the business, will be incorporated in a web application. This web application can serve as a payment tool, as to be used for transfers, domestic and international. It can also visualize all aspects of the reports and the data required from the individual. Now, parallel to this, today, to have a full cycle, we accompany this mobile with a prepaid card or a bracelet to facilitate the usage of the cash or the amounts transferred to the digital wallet for the individual. Of course, the amounts can be used at any ATM worldwide, and it can be used through any point of sale or for online shopping. The cash management solution has more than facilitation. It can facilitate payments for employees, suppliers. It can also enable two-way payments between entities, and as well as cover the distributor solution cycle to cover any agents or distributor payments that accompanies any payments from any company. To have more focus there, as I said, it's the core solution in Gate to Pay. The card distribution solution empowers entities and businesses of all sizes to actually push instantly and digitally any payments to cover their corporate expenses, supplies, vendors, employees, payroll, or incentives, whether banked or unbanked. Another feature that we have is we have the full API capabilities of integration, so that we can have our cards and mobiles integrated to any infrastructure or any systems the corporate can would actually require. And it can be, for example, used as an ID or an access card. It can be integrated with the financial solution at the company, or any infrastructure with point of sales. Another aspect that a lot of our customers are happy about is the facilitation the cash management system gives to the businesses in controlling exact routing of the usage of these amounts. For example, they can control that the payments in one of the cards can be only used at gas stations or fuel card, or so on. So the whole full-fledged card control stands within their portal as well. The other part that we mentioned is actually the coverage of the distributor solution. We see it as a full-fledged cross-party payments where the entities involved, as well as the agents and end consumers or merchants, can be within the same the supply chain. So basically, you can digitalize, you can track, you can pay, you have all the history and reports required, and instant reconciliation between all parties, which also can be used to facilitate certain credit if you cross it with financial institutes as well. So as you can see, this can operate the full cash management solution on an individual running a very small business or a startup, or from ladies at home operating to a full-fledged big corporates of thousands of employees within it and different authority matrix. Now, we have a very nice branding edge that's been actually accepted very pleasantly from all our customers. We can brand the mobile application and the cards themselves in the brand of the entity, whether small or medium or large. And this, of course, can be multi-used by the institute for branding purposes, for marketing purpose, or for the utilization in the company. Another aspect, as I mentioned, we have actually obtained a principal membership in Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay. And hence, we can actually offer BIN sponsorship partnership. We see around the world, whether by telecom or cards, companies or small or large companies, that they want to actually issue cards and they cannot have the principal membership. And hence, we've covered this part to be able to give a full-fledged solution to all our partners and customers, not needing to outsource any of it. And here's some examples stated in the slide as well. Now, on the retail level, I mentioned that we actually do serve individuals, but we try to make it as easy as possible and attainable anywhere in the world. Now, on the prepaid card, we've actually done a Design Your Card initiative, where basically you can log into our site and go to the Design Your Card. You can just upload your ID and whichever card you want, so that you can actually print the prepaid card with the background that you want. Another part is the travel bundle, World MasterCard prepaid cards. We're happy to say that we were actually #1 in the world to have the license of a world category from MasterCard for the prepaid. And this is actually to facilitate and support all classes of people needing to have the benefits of travel in the cards, yet cannot be of a credit tier that the credit cards from the banks would actually require. And again, you don't need to have a bank account, so it can be facilitated for everybody. Now, another level on the retail side, we feel that for our next generation and for the families to have a full-fledged cycle and control, we have actually came up with the family bundles. The family bundles is basically you have the mobile applications and the card associated by it, whichever design or tier, as we mentioned, to the kids. Of course, through it, the parents have the full parental control of pushing instant and scheduled money transfers, full monitoring of where the spending will be from their part, and full visualization of it. Of course, it's a 24/7 anywhere in the world, so it can be of a great tool to receive quickly as possible and as monitored as possible from the families. Here, would like to put a slide on our partners, not only that we are proud to have all of these partners, but also to say that we have been able to cater for all different sizes and do all industries. We have from telecom, we have from schools to brokerage firms, to factories, to clubs, to medical sectors, and so on. And this shows that no matter what the actual system would want to be used for, we can cater for, and it can go beyond borders, as I mentioned. This is very important because today, as we can see it, the digital world and the financial inclusion and using the digital payments without any restriction is the key to moving forward all over the world. And we see it more and more of any crucial moment as COVID-19, of course, but then again, it's a tool that can be used from everybody to escalate their business with the least cost possible and have the technology they require at their fingertips. It was a pleasure introducing Gate2Pay. We are from Jordan, and as I said, the infrastructure we have can cross borders anywhere. And we are happy to have a solution to cater to expand this and be a part of expanding users all over the world. This is my email. If anybody have any questions or inquiries and would like to know more, as I had little limited time to explain. So thank you very much. I will actually leave the floor and hand it to Mr. Kenechi Okeleke back to wrap up the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maha. Thank you very much. Really good to know what you do at Gate2Pay, and I'm very sure that a number of people in the audience will be interested in getting to find a little bit more about Gate2Pay. Thank you very much. So with that, we've come to the end of this keynote session. We've heard today from ITU, Amdocs, Safaricom, Tigo, and of course, Gate2Pay. And if we think back, to every single thing that's been said today, I think one word pretty much stands out, and that is collaboration. Collaboration, between all stakeholders, governments, mobile operators, and of course, other ecosystem players such as Amdocs and Gate2Pay. And I think that is one message that we will be taking forward as we begin to find ways to bring in that next billion users onto mobile services in Africa and beyond. Specifically, Tigo mentioned a few interesting things, that we want to hold on to. They talked about the fact that they have pretty much, introduced Swahili smartphones into the market, and this is one way of improving locally relevant content and services for users in the market. Tigo also talked about partnering with Seed Stars to boost the startup ecosystem in Tanzania. We believe that tech innovators will play a key role in driving, the content services forward in sub-Saharan Africa. Safaricom talked about the smartphone financing initiative. So today, users can go in with just $10, walk away with a high-spec smartphone, and just pay 20 cents a day until it's all paid for. This is one way to really begin to address the affordability issue when it comes to devices in sub-Saharan Africa. Safaricom also talked about integrating 9 out of the 17 SDGs into its corporate strategy, and is currently investing in services and capabilities to contribute to the realization of these SDGs in Kenya. But I want to leave us with this quote from Peter Ndegwa from Safaricom, and that is, beyond connectivity, customers expect innovative services and solutions that will improve their everyday life. And so as we bring in the next billion people into the internet in Africa, there is a need, to have those services, those content that they will be able to use to improve their everyday life. So thank you so much for joining us. And after the break, the session will continue. Please come back to join us then. Take care. Cheers. Bye.